As you improve in swimming and become more involved in the sport, time management becomes more and more important. You have more practices, the same amount of school, other demands on your time, social things that you want to go out and do, homework, all while trying to keep your grades up. Time management becomes something that's incredibly important. I remember when I was in high school, our schedule was 5:30 workout before school, go to school all day, and then be back at the pool for 4 o'clock practice. I'd leave the house at 4:45 in the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, and not come back until 6:30 or 7. And then after that, eat dinner and have to do a little bit of homework before I have to go to bed early because I'm up again super early the next day. Without time management skills, things can get away from you and you feel like you're not as settled, you're not as good in your routine as you were otherwise. And you almost feel like, I always felt like things were kind of more and more loose ends when I wasn't on top of my time. So one thing I did in high school was I'd always buckle down on the weekends and get some good work in when there was school or anything school related that I had to do. I learned at that time if you had a half an hour or an hour of free time, that you had to use that. You couldn't just hang out and watch TV. You had to use that time because you might not get another free hour for a day or a couple of days down the line. Going into university, I learned even more in terms of time management, how important it is to be a successful athlete, especially when in university you still have school, you have more social and more training demands as well in terms of the time that you commit to the sport. My coach at university, Byron McDonald, would tell us you have enough time to do 2.5 things well. 2.5 things well would be school, swimming, and a social life. So those are the 3 things that you basically can choose, but you can only choose 2.5 of them. So that generally means choosing swimming and doing really well, choosing school and doing really well, and then having half of social life compared to what everyone else would do. And those are hard things. These are hard choices that people have to make. But ultimately, if you know that what you're working towards is worth it, they become easier and easier to do. In university, my schedule was similar to what it was in high school. Wake up early, swim in the morning, have a class, take a nap, go back for swimming. But one thing I did every day in university was I made sure I went to the library from 7 o'clock 7 at night till about 9:30 or 10 at night, depending on how much work I had. And for me, I knew that without fail, if I was in the library there, I would get enough work done and I'd get enough things done outside of the pool so that I could not have as many worries, as many stresses on my mind while I was training. Another important thing about time management is that if school is going well, swimming is going well. But whenever I was worried about school and felt like I was behind or felt like my grades weren't high enough or were suffering for whatever reason, that would affect my swimming. And swimming was always one of my first priorities, was always my goal. But I knew that school was just as important in the long run. And to make sure that I could swim well at that time, right now, I needed to do well in school. And by staying on top of school and not letting it get away from me, I was able to stay focused and stay motivated in swimming. Later in my career, I was coached by a man named Ben Titley. And Ben is one of the best coaches in the world. He's from England. He came to Canada to train our high performance center, and I was a part of that group. All those lessons I'd learned in high school for time management, university for time management, getting to places on time, making sure all your ducks are in a row, you're always well organized, prepared me well, but not enough. Ben has a very strict rule of being on time, and if you're a minute late, it's grounds to be kicked out of practice. So if you were on time if you were 5 minutes early. If you were a minute late, you were late. And he warned me. He said, "Zach, you came in a minute late. You need to be here on time." And I said, "Yeah, I'll be here on time next time." A couple of days later, I came in a minute late again and got kicked out of practice. That was one of the first times I'd ever been kicked out of practice in my life. And it was all because I was only a minute late for a workout. And I couldn't believe it. Really, I was blown away that I actually got kicked out of the pool for that. Especially when I said, I've got all this, I've got school, I've got this, I'm juggling 100 things. I got here almost on time, but a minute late is a minute late. It's not on time. And that was a great lesson for me because it taught me the importance of making sure getting to work out on time is priority number one. If you said you're going to be somewhere, be there when you say you're going to be. Don't miss it and don't come late. And another thing is that being high performance and working towards whatever it is your goal is, especially in the world of swimming, is so time focused and so time oriented. If the A standard to make the Olympic team is X and you are 10th off that time, you didn't make the team. Or maybe, your best time is whatever it is, and if you went a second slower than that, or half a second slower, or a tenth slower, you just missed the time. So time management is so important. Being on time is so important, and it definitely relates to swimming because all we think about is time. All we really think about is how can I get a bit more time off my best, off my personal best? What can I do to squeeze a little bit more out of it? It all ties back to staying organized, making sure your school is going well, your swimming is going well, that you're keeping a social life, and at the same time, managing all the responsibilities you have, coming on time to work out, and making sure that you're there to do your best.